the ideas that cause the most cognitive dissonance are the ones that are not the most well supported. Because I need to see it through. If I don't put my skin in the game, shed a bit of blood for this sacrifice, then, how could I expect for the return I'm hoping for to be as severe as the sacrifice?
I just want it to be a conversation and there's just a camera over the shoulder.
Accept that there's people that are going to be better than you at that specific thing. So I know there's going to be someone that's better at editing.
And you could sit around and say, well, I haven't started on the main script because I'm waiting for it to be inspired, right? When you show up and you sit down and you go to your spot, the inspiration does come.
If I don't put my skin in the game, shed a bit of blood, how could I expect for the return I'm hoping for to be as severe as the sacrifice?
A lot of people will be like, I could never do, I have no idea how to do, and I didn't either, for the most part. It's just sitting down and taking the time to learn it once, and then when you do, it's like, oh my gosh.
In this episode, I'm talking with a good friend of mine from film school at NAU. His name's Javier. Javier was originally introduced to me as the audio guy, and one of the things that really stood out to me was just how thoughtful he was. He's an extremely thoughtful person, and it's one of my favorite things about him. This one time we were talking, and he's explaining the difference between an audiophile and a cinephile, where a cinephile is someone who loves movies, but an audiophile isn't someone who loves music, it's someone who loves sound, just specific sounds. And that comes through in this conversation when Javier talks about finding the frequency in an elevator, the hum of the elevator as a kid, intuitively figuring that out. We also cover ground on what it means to be of service to other people and to yourself. And lastly, I think one of the most important things is we talk about the process, how you have to start with some of the menial tasks and how, when you first start out, the basic stuff that other people don't want to do is the stuff you love doing. And you slowly go through this maintenance work and these maintenance phases into ultimately becoming who you are as an artist or as a creative or, whatever you end up doing. So please enjoy this wonderful, long conversation I have with Javier.
My name is Javier Parra, and I am a media producer. I live here in Flagstaff, and I'm originally from Gilbert. Is like the desired outcome like an artist profile, or is it like a just free form?
So the desired outcome is kind of like one of the things I realized that in my life I don't do enough of is stuff that I really like doing.
Yeah.
And I went to school for 4 years, studied cameras, spent so much money on cameras and audio equipment and lights and all this stuff. And there's two things I really like doing, and that's capturing moments with cameras, any kind of camera really. And two is just talking to people.
Yeah. So
that's really, it's free form, but it is an artist profile as well. So
okay.
It is about you.
Yeah.
So the first question is, how'd you get into the medium?
Yeah.
So what brought you to this? Where did it all start?
Yeah. I'd say what brought me into the medium, that is, I guess, entertainment and media production, is, I'd say what brought me in was just this lack of vision, quite literally. I didn't know that I needed glasses for so long, and so I was just not able to see the whiteboard as a kid, and no one really thought anything of it. They're just he just has a hard time seeing the board. Maybe someone older had the idea that maybe he can't see too well.
Which is crazy. I'm gonna shift over here, but that's so wild. Maybe he needs glasses.
Yeah, crazy thought. He keeps squinting at a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was definitely moments where I'm I'll be in an elevator and I just hear it hum, and sometimes I'm I wonder what frequency that is. And so I'll do a frequency sweep just trying to find it, and when I can feel the cavity of the elevator resonate, I'd be there it is. And
That's so cool.
And then my dad'd be what are you doing?
That's so you intuitively did the sweep.
Yeah, I would just kind of like, there it is. It was just like, is that like is like 160 with like a maybe two? So I was just like trying to find the harmonics of everything I was listening to.
Yeah.
But I was also like able to listen to movies or songs and just remember the lyrics and be like the way they said it, not what they said. And so that was always something that I found pretty interesting, was just intonations. And so in just like listening to the world, I kind of just kept doing it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I had gone to high school where there was just no programs to do anything. I was really forced to make a decision to be like, okay, what is it that you think you want, and start making a push towards it. And so while I was on the ASU campus, Polytech, I was like, I was just walking around campus because like that's the perk of having this first graduating high school class on a college campus, is that you have college resources available to you. And so I was like, let's check it out. And so I was walking around and I was checking out the theater department, and there was eventually someone there who was like, hey kid, what are you doing in here? I'm like, I'm just looking for some sound gear or something to mess around with. He was like, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of that here, but if you come back tomorrow, we'll talk. I was like, okay. Right after school, I'm going to run over to this dude's office. I'm going to go talk to him. And maybe he's this opportunity that I need. And on my way to his office, he's just like standing outside with a Ziploc bag super full of cables. And I was like, what is this? And he's like, hey man, you got something. Just take this and forget you ever saw me. I was like,
he's
okay.
Like, you got the gift, kid. Here's your lightsaber. Like, that's like a full-on inciting incident.
Yeah, I was like, and the journey begins. So I think what happened was he stole like a Behringer like analog mixer, and every cable you could use to patch into it, from XLR to 1/4 inch and like RCA and stuff like that. He was like, just mess with it, figure it out. Here's something to play with. Just slapped in a Ziploc bag and was like, best of luck, don't say you know me.
Yeah, because it's probably like school equipment.
Yeah, he probably stole from ASU. So I just had this gear, and I was like, okay, well, let's see what I can do with it. And I spent forever in high school just like trying to learn like physics of sound and just what is it, and just how to record it. You know, so my buddies and I would go to like an abandoned building on campus, and I just needed an outlet.
Yeah.
Like, not like emotionally, but like a physical outlet. So that I could do stuff.
One where you're not gonna like have that oversight of like a teacher be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like, because that always happens. Like, you could be playing ball at recess, and then you're gonna be like, "What are you doing? Stop that!"
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny because like the only people we had to worry about was like the janitors that would come around to like make sure the buildings are actually closed.
Mm-hmm.
But we had like speaker stands put up on either side, and then we would put like a bunch of blankets on top and just drape them across to make like a sound booth.
Yeah.
And just got like a $50 Radio Shack microphone when Radio Shack was still a thing.
Still a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just plug that into the mixer, and we're just like recording raps after school.
That's awesome. Oh man.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So like, it was kind of like you had this kind of hole to it,
Mm-hmm.
and you luckily like found someone who was just like, you know what, like, I'm not supposed to do this. Here you go.
Yeah.
That's super cool because it's always interesting. Like for me, my sister got into photography when she was in high school, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like this camera, you take photos, and she took really good photos. And I didn't get my first, DSLR or anything like that. Like I had a point and shoot family camera that like my dad would just be like, here, and like he had like a handy cam, and I would like film around. But it wasn't until like I got my first like DSLR in college when I was in film school that I was just like, this is so cool. Like I'm actually doing it. I love it. And like you said, just messing around and kind of just figuring out. Like a lot of the people I talk to who are creatives, they're just experimenting all the time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're grab my water. Make sure I destroy the focus. But like with that, when did you kind of like? So is that when you realized like this is what I want to do fully, and you like kind of started going to school for it, or did you have a point? For me, when I told my dad I wanted to do filmmaking, he's like, just don't do documentary. There's no money in that. And now I'm like, I like documentary though. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there was really like a moment that was like, this is the way I need to go. But it was more like, for the past several years, I couldn't help but notice I'm thinking about this one thing a lot. And every time I'm thinking about it, I'm like thinking of other people's needs around me and how I can like approach that with this craft, because it's something I find pretty second nature, and it's interesting to try to like offer that as like, I don't know if I have any other talents. I might as well like just capitalize on this for now.
Yeah.
Until something else arises.
Yeah.
Because at first I thought I wanted to be like, to find out what I want to be, like that was more difficult than I thought it would be. Because in school they're just like, well, what do you want to be? And you're just like, fireman.
Someone who doesn't know what they want to be is asking you that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
they're like, I'm just trying to get this check. What do you want to do? Like, see if the kid has it figured out. I don't know.
Maybe they have a good enough answer that the teacher's like, that's a good idea. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm gonna start job searching. Here's a movie. Like, but yeah, I was like, I wasn't too sure what I wanted, because I thought I was like, oh, I like music. That means be an artist and go make music. I tried it, but I was like, I don't get as excited about it. It's good. It's not bad. I'm just not like, this is it. And so when I was in high school, a lot of it was just experimenting with, like you said, experimentation is what really like was the driving force in a lot of this. But the thing that I felt was the most proactive in finding out what is it that I like was trying everything I didn't like. So I thought I wanted to be a musician. Not my thing. I thought that meant, I like more tech. So let me do music with more tech. That's a DJ. Did not like taking requests.
Yeah.
Not a fan of like, how's the song that goes boo? I'm like, I had a vision for the night and you changed it all.
Have you seen that? It's a clip from some show. I don't know what it is, but it's like, it's Craig Robinson and he's DJ. And someone, like, anytime someone requests, he's like, yeah, sure. And then he just plays whatever he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, no one takes requests. You don't take any requests from no one. He's like almost crying. I feel like that's a lot of DJs. Exactly.
Yeah, unless you request a really good song, we like hadn't thought about that, and then it feels collaborative for the night, as opposed to like glorified Spotify.
Yeah.
So didn't like DJing. And then that's when I discovered audio engineering as a craft, because I was like learning all the tools of like, what's an EQ sleep, like whoosh, like take out the lows and then bring them back in for like a drop to hit. And I was like, that's cool, but like, how do I do more of that in every song? How do I like craft this? And that's when I started finding out studio engineering was what I was looking for. I wanted to feel the knobs and manipulate what I was hearing, because I already had a critique about it as a kid from finding the resonant frequency in the
elevator. Yeah.
To being like, well, now I need to go find out how to like take that out, because I don't like it.
Yeah, you're like, okay, so that's like 1200.
Yeah.
I hate that. Take that.
It's too much.
As someone who's just like dipped their toe in audio, like I have done very little, but every time I need to do audio, it's because something terribly wrong's happened.
Yeah.
And it's always funny because I'm like, oh, how to do this? And I'm like, I don't know what terminology I need. And then I like find the terminology, and then I find the thing, and then I do the process, and then it's still bad. Like it sounds canned or condensed or whatever it is.
Yeah, totally.
That's just like so interesting because like you were doing the isolation earlier when we were just hanging out, and it's just like so cool to hear that and you be like, oh, that's where this is. Like you like that's what this is. It's just like. Because for me, it's just like a very physical world, and like audio is something I love, and like it evokes emotions in me, but I just can't visualize it, and so it's so cool to watch you work and do that.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that as an audio engineer, adjectives are what make the craft. Because when you're just trying to find like say 400 hertz, it's described as like honky. Or it's just like all that little noise, it's like that.
You said honk earlier, like you like what's so like either you said honky or honk or something like that. So okay, so it's like 400. That's so interesting. Okay.
Or if you have like your high frequencies, you can have something that's kind of piercing, like your brakes when they're like going out, where it's like that could be shrill. But if you have the same shrillness hitting that same note on like a violin, then it's velvety. You know, you're just like, it's just, I don't know, the way it comes across.
That is, and like the adjectives used for sound as well are just so perfect.
Yeah.
It's like when someone describes a shot, like a video shot looking buttery or like creamy, and you're just like, oh, it's just so soft. It's so like velvety. Like I went to I don't know if you've seen those ads for like the candlelight concert thing.
Yes, I have. I have.
For 3 years they've been like just direct marketing me, and I finally was like, I gotta go.
Are they real?
Yeah, they're real.
Okay.
So I went last weekend, and it was like super cool because it was emo night, which was like they finished with "Welcome to the Black Parade," which was like awesome. But I thought it was gonna be like a full orchestra. And it was just a like quartet, and like, it was still great. But there were some times where like that velvety like violin like went into shrill, and it was just like but like. No, it was great. It was just like it was definitely an interesting. I think I'd like to go back for something like they have a Game of Thrones that one and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's sick.
Yeah, but it's so funny because the descriptors for audio are just so perfect. You know, it's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you're just like, that's how it made me feel.
Yeah. So you said like it's kind of like a way you can help people, right?
Yeah.
Have you always been this kind of person who like wants to just like help people, and that's, you know, a drive for you?
Yes and no. Yes, because my actions reflect it. No, because that wasn't my intention originally. Sometimes I find myself having an idea, like a thought, where I'm like, if I could just make this happen and see it through, the cognitive dissonance would finally shut up, you know?
It'll quiet, you know?
Yeah, like, I just need to see what this will do. Like, even when I'm working on these projects, I'm just like, I need to see what happens if I just aggressively take that frequency out to see just how pure this becomes, even though this is lacking a significant amount of this frequency. Mm-hmm. So when I started, like, getting into this, it was back in the Mesa Community College, like, environment wherein I was sitting in, like, 2015 after graduating high school. When I was out there, I was like, all right, I have this like very rudimentary understanding of audio, and while I was out there, I was like, what could I do to stand out above the rest?
Yeah.
that was my objective, because in the audio field, self-serving isn't the right word, but it's you have self-interest that isn't exactly like the film world, where it's more communal in that regard. This is like me by myself in a space trying to make the coolest thing I can to pump it out and get some clout or whatever, you know. Yeah. But in the film world, it's like, yeah, if you haven't eaten in 12 hours, like, that's a team player.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you complain about it, you know. There's something different about the fields. So when I was at MCC, trying to help myself before helping other people, something I was looking to accomplish was just networking and finding other people who thought about this as much as I do. And I bumped into my buddy Garrett Bowers, and he would just be like, yeah, man, I want to make music, but I just haven't been, like, doing it as much as I should. Just like anybody who discusses anything, like, I feel that way about fitness. I know I should, but I don't always. Yeah.
I'll get there when I do. You know?
Yeah, it'll happen. But for him and I, we were just like, you have music you want to record. I want to experiment with recording. You want to just come over to my house and just like strum your guitar in front of a microphone while I just futz around with what we learned in class today? And he was like, yeah, man, for sure. And so he just kept coming over to my place, and I'm like, you know what would make this guitar sound so much better? A better microphone, a better preamp, and just like slowly going through the equipment and just being like, if I spend $500 on just this preamp and another $500 on this mic or something, I kept like putting money into it to like see it through, because it was just this itch in my brain that I couldn't scratch like completely.
Yeah.
And so while I was going about that process, Garrett was like, dude, this is like turning into something. You mind if I bring a buddy over? He's his name is Pablo, and he's a drummer. You think he could come by? And I was like, dude, hell yeah, bring him over. And so now I'm faced with like, how do you record drums now? Because that's like a quantity game, where I'm like, okay, now I need a kick, snare, hat, rack, floor, overhead left, overhead right, possibly room mic. So I'm like, man, I don't have enough inputs for this. So I was like, but I have the recording in the next few days. I need to get more ergonomical. How do I make this? How do I craft a vision and not be too obsessed with the tech? So a lot of the things I was doing early on were very much experimental for my own interest, to be like, how do I make this work? What I didn't realize is that it was helping my buddy create the music he wanted, and so by the time I finally took my head out of the water and was like, whoa, that was crazy, I can see it now on the horizon, just like how much was happening because I kept my head down and just focused on what I needed to do for myself. And then intuitively everyone else is like, okay, if Javi's going to hold down that rhythm of production,
Yeah.
I can go create more music. If they're going to create more music, they can bring in more musicians. And so it kind of kept...
it starts feeding the beast, you know?
Exactly.
It just starts snowballing.
Exactly.
And then you can get more gear, and then you can do more things, and then, that's, like... It's really cool to hear, because, like, it is that when you do start out, and especially in a classroom environment, it is a very competitive space, and you are kind of, like I couldn't help but, like, in class be like, dude, that person's video was so much better than mine. Or, like...
Yeah, that happened a lot.
Or, like, just be like, yeah, that person just shot their stuff on an iPhone, and, like, because, like, there were those people who just, like, phoned it in, where they just, like, their lights were bad, like, they didn't pay attention in lighting or whatever it was, and you'd be like, I'm doing better than them, and, like, you get into this competitive space, and it's hard to kind of, like, take yourself out of that to be like, oh, what if I teamed up with that person who's better than me, and that person whose stuff looked pretty amateur, their acting was on point.
Yeah.
You know, like, what was good about it? And you're kind of, like, building off of that. But then, like, inversely, like you said, like, focusing on what you do, what you can control, and, like, getting that in unlock just help the team. And it's one of those things where it's like, just like, I mean, life has that same balance where you're just like, do I take care of myself and people around me? And, like, maybe taking care of myself is taking care of the people around me.
That's true.
You know, like, that's like I really like that because, you know, like, because I've met Pablo and, you know, I think I met Garrett, but it's kind of cool to hear, like, that, like, looking back at it, you didn't know what it was, and that's basically, you know, the creative process. You don't know what it is before you start. You know? Do you have, like, you talked about how, like, you had this idea at the beginning where you, like, you just got to get this thing out of your head. Get rid of that cognitive dissonance of, like, well, I can't do it because of this, but I need to do it. Like, there's a drive to do that.
Yeah.
What does that look like when you're kind of like, because you do work in the field and you get people who are like, hey, you know, Javi, can you help me out here? Are there also times you go to people and say, hey, I have this, you know, idea, or I have this thing I want to do?
Yeah, the ideas that cause the most cognitive dissonance are the ones that are not the most well supported. Because I need to see it through. If I don't put my skin in the game, shed a bit of blood for this sacrifice, then, you know, how could I expect for the return I'm hoping for to be as severe as the sacrifice, you know? For example, my debt in equipment, it got pretty severe because as soon as I can get a credit card at 18, the thing I heard the most in school was invest in yourself. And I took that as well, I don't have the means to execute vision. And I think that's what it means to take that risk, is to throw some money at... The first thing I bought was, the craziest thing was this interface for $3,000. I put that on a Guitar Center gear card, and I was like, you guys, it's only 16 inputs. We could record drums, we could record vocals, but when are we ever going to record a whole band at once? Like, that would be cool and all, but with 16 inputs, why would you need more? You definitely need more, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I was like, but my 16 inputs, if that's what I limit myself to, they have to be pristine. But if it's not pristine, then I'm missing the vision. And for me, that relationship happens with the microphone and the preamp. The thing that captures the source and the thing that reinforces it. It's really a yin to a yang, you know, a camera sensor to a lens, you know. And so that was something that I had learned in school, but I didn't fully get, but it was enough of an idea for me to hang on to the tail of and just try not to let it go. And in doing so, I ended up dropping a lot of money on like preamps, like $550 a pop for 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to power it is $1,000. To power 10 units is $1,000. And so I was just like, Garrett, I'm gonna buy this chassis. It powers 10 units, but if I buy the chassis, give me like a month, I'll buy 1 preamp. That's $1,000. Let's just say 2,000 rounding up after taxes and cables and junk like that to fit it. But at all said and done, $2,000 to get 1 signal super pristine. That's a heavy risk at 18, and I couldn't handle it going to school. I was like, I was on a crazy schedule because there was no way for me to work and blow this kind of money.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, while I'm in school during the day, that means I got to work at night. And so I would have classes from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. because I had an astronomy class.
Yeah.
And then from 11 p.m. I'd go work at Planet Fitness till 6 a.m. And so I had only the hour to get from work to school. So Tuesdays to Thursdays for 7 months, I just didn't sleep.
And like you said, like there's that sacrifice you have to make. That kind of like that offering to like whatever inspiration is or creativity is.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's also part of that cognitive dissonance you're talking about, where it's like, it's so hard for so many people to make that commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, it's jumping off into, like, I know that I can do this full time, gig to gig, but I'm not ready to put myself in that opportunity, in that risky territory. And that's the cognitive dissonance for me between like the job I do like and I do every day, Monday through Friday, which is in the right realm. But for years it was like I was working retail and I was working in like this editing dead end. It was like just editing bad stuff out of home videos. And it was just, you'd sit there for 8 hours staring at a screen, clicking 3 buttons and like dragging a mouse. Like my left 3 fingers lost a lot of cartilage just from how much I was clicking with them.
Yeah.
But it was so hard to say, no, I believe enough in myself. I can do this, And it wasn't until I got my current job where I see people who've done that and I see that they put that skin in the game, and I'm like, it's there, you gotta do it, you gotta put it. And that's when I got this camera and I put that, like, I took some dead out, and for a while there I was just like, dude, this is the huge mistake. And then it was kind of this back and forth of like, okay, well, I can sell the camera, pay off the credit card debt, and basically start from square one. And every time I kind of thought about that, I was just like, a little part of me was like, like, are you really going to cut off this part of you? Are you going to just amputate this arm that you like, this thing that is a part of you, this creativity, this outlet for creativity, this medium, And so it's totally true. You got to make that sacrifice, and you got to put that skin in the game, and until you do, it's not really that, and that sacrifice is different for everyone. It's like,
oh, totally.
A $200 parking ticket to a college student is the end of the world, but a $200 parking ticket to someone who makes $100K a year, it's like, oh, it's just like I paid for parking.
Yeah, right.
Like, who cares? That's a write-off or whatever. People say.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But like that sacrifice is kind of like taxes. It's bracketed to where you are, and like giving up what you need to in pursuit of what you need to be doing.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's terrifying.
Yeah, and like, you constantly think like you said earlier, like until I haven't found anything else that like I'm great at, like this is what I've been given.
Yeah.
With that kind of like jumping off point, what inspires you now versus then? Like then it was kind of just figuring it out, and like there's still that experimental point of it, but you're 26, 20, 30? Okay.
Yeah.
So that was 10 years from when you made that, I'm doing this full in.
Yeah.
But even before that was like, you started getting your toe in the water. What inspires you now?
Uh, hmm. I'd say what inspired me then versus now was I need to figure out how to do this. Now I'm realizing what this isn't what I thought I was doing. So what inspires me now is to figure out where is tomorrow? You know, and in the regards of like, okay, well, I'm sitting on all these resources that past Javi has graciously bled for future Javi to have, because I knew that, like, I used to do a lot of research too in high school to be like, how do I make this field viable? How do I go about this? And I kept bumping into like certain forums that would be like, you got to pay your dues about 10 years. And I was like, that sounds excessive. I bet I could do it a lot faster. Here I am at the end of 10 years after reading that. I'm like, all right, well, maybe there was some truth to some of that.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't exactly what I thought I'd be doing. Because I got into it thinking I was going to be a musician, then a DJ, then an audio tech. But then in college, when I met you, we went through film school, and I was like, well, that's the only way to round out my education right now. Otherwise, I'm going to another audio school to learn the same thing and then move forward. I was like, I got to beat that 10 years.
Yeah, because then you get competitive. Like,
yeah.
It's like that 10,000 hours, you know, like you got to get that work in, and it's so weird because it's just doing that process, and like it's something happens along that time, and like you could get 10 years of experience in 3 years, but you don't mature enough as an individual to kind of progress through that the way you need to, and that's also part of it, you know, like it's like I look back to when I was first out of college and kind of like applying to places and like being like, oh man, I don't know enough about Premiere to apply to this job, or, you know, I'm not where I need to be. And now I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, I'm at the point where, yeah, I don't know everything, but if you blindfolded me and dropped me in a camera cage and like, I'm going to figure out, you know, take the blindfold off and figure out, I could probably use some cameras like with a blindfold on and like, I'll figure it out and getting out of it. And that's where that experience is kind of like, there's the skill maturity, and then there's the like social maturity, the emotional maturity to kind of like, oh, I can figure this out. And so looking to tomorrow and trying to figure out what tomorrow is, I get that too, because like I feel like for creatives it's kind of like, well, what's your 5-year plan? What's my 5-hour plan? Like, what am I doing in 5 hours?
Yeah, I can't be thinking that far ahead. I could, I probably should, but I don't, because that has changed so often, as every creative is and every person is familiar with. Just to be like, I don't know. Especially in a field where your next meal comes from a total stranger sometimes, and you're just freelancing till something works. I fortunately haven't had to do too much of that. I've been very like fortunate in my like work history. I've been able to work for small companies. My first job was at Joe's Farm Grill down in Gilbert.
Okay.
Learned how to be a busser, and then eventually moved up into food prep. But then I was like, man, this isn't the thing. I did it for a year, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go try to do music. Nope. I did that at 18, and I was like, you can't jump off that quick. And so I was like, all right, I need to lily pad this thing, like one to the next. I can't just jump and hope that there's something I'm going to land on.
Yeah.
So I went to work for their sister company, Joe's Barbecue, in downtown Gilbert. And they were like, oh, you were with our sister property. We're going to make you pitmaster smoker, top tier. You're the guy. And I was like, okay. Like,
sure. If you think I can, I don't know if I can.
And through that, I was like, well, that's great. Like, learning how to work with small businesses kind of put an impression on me to be like, the work you do here is what is the name of the brand. Everything that you do to put into this brisket, your love, your heart, sweat and tears, your knowledge, your like passions, the things that you care about, the flavor, the way you style the meat when you cut it, everything that they don't think about. That's your job. You have to cover everything so that when they're out there and like, oh yeah, here, take my money for this experience, They don't want to know how you did it.
Yeah.
But they just want to know that it was a cool niche thing that they got to experience.
Yeah.
So sharing some of the knowledge is helpful, but too much of it starts to swell your audience a little too much. So I was like, okay, so my job is just to like hold it down, do a good job, put in the labor, and eventually something good will come out. But I'm doing it for a different business. I'm not doing it for myself. So I was like, oh man, what do I do next? So it wasn't until I got to Flagstaff in like 2019 that I eventually got a job with Peaks Audio, which is also an independently owned company just by a local Flagstaff person here, Jason Muller. He's been in the community, raised in the community, had access to every building that he could ever want, because people were like, that's the guy, man. Since like elementary to high school to college, like I'm sure that dude was just like the guy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, how do I get onto that level, but for myself? And so through working with Peaks Audio for the past 5 years, I've learned like how to do what I want for myself by doing it for somebody else. And so like it was like a slow progression from like small businesses to get to the one that I enjoyed, that would actually teach me the things that I need to know about how to run a business, because the things that are driving me currently are I have a lot of resources, and this equipment starts to equal opportunity because I can run up on something that didn't have cameras, audio, or whatever.
Yeah.
I have something to provide now, but I have too much. So it's a weird problem I didn't think I'd have. But now, after going to film school and being in a more collaborative environment, I'm able to be like, hey, you like doing this. I'll give you some money if you want to go do it for me.
Yeah.
Because like I can help sponsor your interest if you sponsor my vision. And so now the things that are driving me are like, how do I spread the wealth among people around me? Because I know they're all talented. Like, these are the workers that my employer is looking for, but they're just like my friends.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh shit, dude, like these are the guys. Like, we could do cool things. Everyone has their own ambitions and like interests. And it's funny to see, like, sometimes buddies will come up to me and be like, hey man, I know you got like a 3-camera setup. What if I just like borrowed that for like 4 months and try to turn you a profit based on what I see here in Phoenix for multicam? They just want me to hand off footage, but it has to have time code. And you were the only one in college talking about time code.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Because
so
time code was like nothing, but it's like I still don't have any time code generators, and I'm like, this would make my life so easy for a multicam. Like, that'd be awesome. I could do so many more things with that time code. Like that. So like, sorry, I cut you off, but like,
no, that's totally it.
That's cool. I like how it's kind of like, and even further, like, it's that you were talking about that progression of like, busser to prep to pitmaster to where you are now, and it's kind of the same thing with where you started with the, I have to do this for myself in audio, and then working with Garrett, and then like when I asked if you do it for other people, and you're like, not really. Like, initially I was like, whatever, and now you're like, how do I spread the wealth?
Yeah.
How do I bring people in? And like, that's one of the things like I always try to do. Like, if someone's like, oh hey, do you know a good editor? And I'm like, I could probably edit whatever you're talking about, but I know someone in New York who I went to school with, and their stuff blows my stuff out of the water by far. If I had anyone editing my content, it would be said person. Or like, I had the audio problem, and I was like, Javi, I need help. Like, like, can you help me just figure out what this is? And you gave me like this great text with all this information, and I did the audio stream, but that wasn't the problem. And we're like, oh, the problem fixed itself. Whatever it was, it fixed itself. We don't know what the problem was, but I really think it was peaking. But what are you gonna do? And like, it's cool how that growth has happened to you, and so like, with that being said, if you were to like have your grand vision, like for me, there's something that keeps me not up at night, but there's something like I'm trying to get into like a script format right now.
Yeah.
And I'm still facing those barriers where I'm like, oh, what happens in the next scene? And then I had the idea, and then driving up here, I was like, dude, it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks since you had that idea. Like, why haven't you put that on paper?
Oh, yeah.
We all kind of, as creatives, have that, like, almost grand vision, or like that, like, oh, you know, if I had time, effort, money, and like if I had the time and the money and the resources to do this, the team to do this, I'd do this. You know, what does that look like end picture if you have one like that?
The end picture that I've had since I was probably 15 sounds like some end of the world planning for some reason.
Yeah, what's the master plan?
The master
James
plan.
Bond villain.
Oh yeah, the master plan property. It's a weird one, but I want like at least an acre minimum, just so that I can like build this like experience. I kind of want. I've seen some of the studios that I really admire. I think it was like La Fabrique. Essentially, it's just this beautiful, massive, like kind of a mansion, and they just like house a bunch of equipment. But also because it's a mansion, they also house the engineers that come by to engineer for different bands, or they kind of like there's people that like live on property. So there's just like efficiency and a devotion to just like this, nothing else.
It's like a creative commune almost. Like,
it's a cult.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be
I want to be the leader.
Yeah, I want to lead that cult.
Yeah.
So
it's like Skywalker Ranch. Like
exactly.
Like George Lucas did that for Star Wars. You know,
exactly. Yeah. So I want to do that same thing, but living in Flagstaff, I noticed that because I'm just perched atop this little mountain, and everything is in Phoenix or Tucson or everywhere else, the only thing that I can do here that has so much more reach is through going online and trying to push this like project. Something I started was Creekside Sessions, and it's essentially just going down to the Oak Creek Canyon and just doing like an unplugged set.
That's so sick.
Yeah, dude.
That is so cool. I love
Yeah.
raw uncut. That's what I'm trying to do with this. Is like make it just like uncut and just like
Yeah.
there's some purity to that. Some like real ancestral kind of like
Yeah.
primal feeling to that.
Yeah. It just feels good to see something that's like, I don't want to say real, but like just simply human enough. Like you're not over polishing it, but you're obviously putting in some elbow grease to like make it look like a watchable thing. You know?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. That's why I started, and that started just because I was like, Pablo, I want to do this multicam thing, but I want a subject. You got music. You mind just coming up to Flagstaff and just like be my subject? He's like, sure, man, whatever you want. And that's definitely a theme in my life because of the things I'm doing for them and I don't realize I'm doing. Where they're just like, Javi, if you ever have a request, like, you know, you've done a lot for me. I'm not going to go and bill you for the things that you're probably going to pay me to do.
Yeah.
But like, that's definitely like the working relationship I like to have, to be like, I know it's hard to do this work and not get paid, but there's opportunities for me to pass it on. So it's like, all right, I'm getting paid for the gigs I didn't get paid before. It's finally paying now. Let me help you out. I'm not like in high school. I'm an adult. Let me give you some money, like at least get a meal or get some gas just to get here.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I had a similar thing where I needed someone to cover for me on this comedy show I shoot every month, and I was like, you know, like I want to put dollars in the pocket of my friend, who, like, I know can do a good job. He's gonna crush it. He can use the work, and like there's something about that where like, and you know there was a point where like, I didn't even know if I was gonna get pay like reimbursed for it, but it wasn't like I don't need to make money off this, right?
Yeah.
Like if all that happens is like this person gets paid, and if I end up like out the money that I paid him, that doesn't matter because like I gave him the opportunity to do what he needs to do, what his thing is. So that the facilitator role is pretty cool, and it's cool to see that progression from like, I'm not in high school anymore where like I'll just do whatever. Yeah. It's no, like you're coming to me, here's what I need, here's what you need for what you did and what you gave me. Yeah, because it's not sustainable in this industry if we're just doing each other favors all the time. Someone's got to put $1 into this cycle. Yeah. It's the tax of the process, like, exactly. It's never truly what they deserve, but you're like, this is what I have. Oh, that is so true. And when you come across clients or people you work with who understand that and like there's something different, and that's the case that where I was at, where it's like, when I didn't think I was, you know, what if I don't get paid for this, and I already paid this guy. I was like, I'm totally fine, because this client is so cool, and their thing is creative, and I love this comedy show, and I want to be a part of it, and if all I need to do is throw a couple dollars at it, I don't care, because this is something I support, this is something I'm on board for, and like, when you come across someone who gets that and sees that there's a bigger picture, and that, like, you know, there's been situations where I was in a meeting with someone, and the first 30 minutes he spent complaining about how someone else was going to charge him like $10,000 to do this consulting for him, and I was just like, and he just spent the whole time just going in on this person who I also knew, and I was like, all right, that's all I needed to know. Like, I don't need much more information to know that, like, you're too much in the dollars and cents of this to see what's actually happening. And you run into that. You see those people, and like that comes with that experience of that 10 years, you know, you start to be like, this person doesn't see the vision, you know, or they don't, you know, see the labor. And like, I've had people who are just like, really, all that for, you know, like filming this, and I'm like, I'm giving you 50% off. Like, you seem like a cool person, and like, I'm giving you 50%. Like, normally it's twice the price. Like, my gear alone costs that much to rent for the day. Like, that's not even considering like me, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's like one of the reasons why, like, when you said yes, I was like, yes, I love, because like we did that same thing you're talking about in college, where we just like hang out and do like marathon sessions of creativity, and like coming out with some, I mean, they were good, but they were cringy, you know?
They're fun.
They're fun, yeah. It's like, and like, I look back at that, I'm like, oh man, like that collaborative pursuit. Yeah. And like, creativity isn't always like an isolation thing. And sometimes it can be, and sometimes it needs to be. And just the back and forth is also pretty cool about it.
Yeah, the community makes all the difference. Like, I have about, I might be rounding up just a touch, but 50 microphones. Some of them are like $1,000 a pop. So, like, I'm just one person with one voice that can make a certain amount of sounds. Like, I don't need 50 microphones personally. I have a guitar amp simulator. I don't play guitar.
Yeah.
like, I have gear that I don't personally need, but I do it for the community around me that needs it. When I have an artist that comes in and is like, I really want to record this, and I'm like, do you even have an amp? And they're like, I do, but it's dinky, it's falling apart, but it only works when it's super loud. I'm like, okay, well, I live in an apartment. I'm still in college or something. So I bought a pedal board because I was like, I don't want to tax the CPU on my computer if I can help it, so that the efficiency of the session runs smoothly. I don't want them thinking about it. I put the control back in their hands, and it's like, no one likes it. No one likes the amp simulator. Yeah. But it's a hell of a lot better than having to piss off a bunch of other neighbors. And I mean, the tech is, I like it. I thought it sounds okay, but I'm not a musician, so there's like a nuance that's missing to what I'm having provided. But at the same time, I went and spent like $1,000 on that thing, used, and I'm sure it's depreciating in value every day.
Oh, they all are.
Yeah.
They all are. I bought my camera, I think, like a week later or 2 months later, something else came out, and I was like, cool, whatever.
The Mark II is out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, why? And then you're like, well, why do I need it? And it's like, these 3 specs are just like incrementally better. Yeah. Or like, this one thing is so much better, and you're like, for this one use case, that would be amazing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I definitely try to find the things, like I shoot on Sony's EVE-10s, and they have a sensor that shoots 6K, but only outputs 4K. So it's using a downscaled output.
Classic Sony move.
Yeah, right? And so there's something about it where it's like, it's not the sexiest sensor, it's not doing the most, but where I put my money is towards the lenses to sculpt the image that I need that the sensor may not provide. But it's enough for me to get where I need to go. It's a crop sensor, but you would know after watching the video, like, wow, that's crazy, how'd you do this? I was like, I mean, $600 camera body, $400 lens, about $1,000. really not that much.
Yeah.
I mean, just to like get the thing off the ground. But for something like that where it's like, so why do you need 3? It's like, well, it's not for me, it's for other people now.
Yeah.
And now I can potentially get 3 camera operators and get 3 people paid for a gig that would have otherwise just put all the money and stress into my life. And I'm like, you know what? I could alleviate the stress, have enough money to fund the next time we do this with more crew. And some things I'm doing for like the people that are working for me on these gigs, and there's like 2 a year. So it's not like I have like contractors everywhere swarming me for jobs, but instead it's just 2 quality gigs that come around for annual events. And in those annual events, they're like, there can be no error. This must be perfect. This needs to look good. I need to be able to sell this again next year, and I need my sponsors and donors to feel satisfied with what they are putting money into, including your production. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, stakes are high.
Yeah.
It is no longer just me and my buddies making beats on the weekends or during the pandemic.
And like that it's like when that reality hits, like I was telling you about that documentary I went to for Alabama, a buddy of mine asked me to go film his bird banding thing, and he's like, could you do it for this much? And I was like, you know what, you're an awesome person. And, you know, normal rates, like, it was like $1,500, which for like what I gave him, like 10-minute documentary is criminally low. But I wasn't doing anything at the time, and I was like, I would love to. And also, you know, like I said, a friend. And again, going back to that, you know, that sacrifice and people who get the vision.
Yeah.
He was like, this is a lot. And then he started stressing, like, this is so much to us. This means so much to us. Like, this has to be good. It has to hit these notes. And, like, when you get there, you know, then you have to take your ego out of the situation where, like, the end result isn't exactly what I want. Like,
right.
I don't capture, like, I watched it with some people, and I didn't capture their attention for 10 minutes. I could see they got lost pretty quickly, you know. But I was also able to post it on YouTube and have that on my page, and then I put some money behind it on YouTube. Yeah. And the point where I really realized the purpose of this was, one, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. They were obsessed with it. They said it was so good. Some people cried, which is always, you know, like,
yes,
you're like, yes, yeah. You're like,
they felt it.
Emotions, like, and then when I put that money behind it, and it went from 400 views, which is what they brought to the channel, because they have a devoted fan base. Yeah. I put that, like, $100 behind it, and it jumped to 6,000 views. Whoa. And I was like, that's awesome. And I was like, all right, I'm going to have to invest in, like, you know, putting some money behind my YouTube videos now. Yeah. But it was one commenter. Mm-hmm. This guy, don't know who he is or what he is, said, this is awesome. This is so cool. I'm adding this stop on my list of places I am going to visit before I die, and hopefully check off some lifetime birds. Ooh. And I was like, there's some random birder out there who just looks at backyard birds or goes out on adventures, and now he knows about this thing. Yeah. He has never heard of this group, and he might even go to this event next year. Yeah. And, like, that was, like, okay, that was... And then, again, it's just one person, and you're just like, holy shit, okay, I see... Now, there's the value that they saw. Yeah. And, like, that's one person who felt the urge to comment. How many people are like, oh, I live in this area in Outlet. Like, I live in Fort Morgan.
And said nothing.
And, like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go to Bird Week, you know? Like, it was like this cool moment where you could, like, see that payoff. Yeah. But when you're looking down the barrel of that gun, where it's like you have donors, you have crowds, we need to get people back, all this stuff, you're like, whoa.
You're the guy.
Yeah. It's like you probably felt when you were like that. You're gonna be pit boss, and you're like, okay. Me? Okay, and now I'm in charge of how everyone perceives the night. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, that's. And that's, you know, where it's at. You know, that's where that kind of, again, that experience comes in, and it's pretty cool. When you put on, like, that Creek show, or you're recording something, now this is a variation of the question I sent you, but like seeing people in flow state and being yourself, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
like is it different seeing people in flow state? Or are you because like you said you were so heads down looking into your own work that when you came to get a breath you saw all these other people and what they were able to do because you put that time in, that investment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is it like seeing people in that flow state just going?
I'd say the biggest thing that you start to realize, especially at a younger age of 28, is branding. That is the like monster that I'm wrestling with right now, because they're your friends doing cool things, and getting behind a brand is kind of hard because there's this illusion that you need to be a brand all the time as a person. I've been off social media for 5 years because I was just like, did I really ever need that? Or did I just get addicted at a young age? And I see the pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about branding that is so powerful beyond social media, because that's not the only place it exists,
No.
it really changes the momentum of the projects that you consider valuable. If you think about it, if there's a project that means a lot to somebody or some cause, you need to see that above all. And it's probably cliche to say that it's more valuable than money, because when you're in the trenches, you just need to get that obstacle out of your way. It feels like a life or death situation, because if this thing doesn't get made, then every step you took before will have meant nothing if you didn't cross it. Exactly. It just doesn't work.
It's done in vain. You know, it's gone.
Yeah. And so when we're doing these Creekside sessions, the value that I see is like, okay, I understand that their brands may not always, like the people who are in front of the camera, their brand may not be perfect, but something that I can do to help influence that is be my own brand and show them the way that I'd like to conduct myself. Lead by example. And say that, hey, this is going to be a higher scale production, but nothing near Hollywood kind of esque. That's what makes this Hypoterra, is it's very underground. We're just doing it because we can, and we have the means to execute pretty well. And that's what makes it kind of rogue guerrilla warfare, kind of like, we're just going to come here and do something competitive.
Yeah, that garage band kind of, like not garage band, the audio recording, but like garage band, actual garage bands just making it happen.
Exactly. And it really does lean on you to put in that energy and bloodshed to like make it happen. But branding is something I've struggled a lot with, because like, what am I doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Yeah.
And it's typically for people around me, where I've seen that like I'll go on a pattern of just like a creative high, and I'm just like, I can't stop innovating a new rack. These ideas aren't new, but what I'm doing, it feels new to me, and what I can do with it in the context of the people around me and the community that we're supporting. So there may not be a brand to it, but there's something that like I feel this push. And it's me that's that driving force for a while, that I'm like, hey, I want you to get on this Creekside session with me. I'm going to need you to bring your camera if you got it. I'll give you a finder's or an equipment fee of $100 just because you brought your gear. Something like that, just to help everybody out. As well as getting the musicians to be like, all right, we might have to get an Airbnb so that everyone just, I need you here.
Centrally, yeah.
I can't wait. Like, even when it comes to like data dumping, I allocate a day afterwards. Like, if I have to request it off work, I'll be like, this is the day of the event, this is a data dump day, and then I can come into work. The event is 2 days, it's never one.
Yeah.
Because if I don't do that data offload sooner than later, then it's like, then I'm discouraged from the process. I didn't treat it like it was on fire. Like, this needs to be precious and preserved and done well. And so when it came down to figuring out the branding for Hypoterra Records and other people around me, I found that it was easier for me to just be as much of a beacon as possible so that other people follow suit. And so some people are like, hey man, I noticed that you've been upgrading like your recording methods. What in-ears are you using? I really liked using them with your stuff. I want to just incorporate it into mine. What mixer are you using? I liked using it. You made it seem so smooth and intuitive. I didn't know that was a possibility. How did you do that? Build me an Amazon shopping list. Send it my way. I'll buy it right now.
Yeah.
You know, because they see the value of like, hey, like I personally can't stand these obstacles, but it's so much fun to like get over them.
Yeah.
And so for other people, they're like, I need what you've discovered, but I don't really want to go through the hardship of figuring that out. Could you just tell me how to do that?
Yeah, you're like a lighthouse helping people avoid the jagged rocks of like
Yeah.
figuring it out themselves and like guiding them safely.
Exactly.
Where like you said, a beacon, and like
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool. That's like yeah, Hypoterra Records just helping you be creative, you know?
Yeah, because we can. Because like when it comes to the big vision of what is it that we're trying to accomplish, it's just to do it. It's not really like a proper business, but that's where I started realizing that all of my friends who are involved in what I'm asking them to do, because they're all professionals, I have to ask them like, all right, hey, like if I get you out on this gig, we're about to make, let's just say one of our gigs we made $2,000. That was enough for me to pay up to 4 people and help invest for the event to come. Especially if they want us back. Like, the client is in love with us. They're just like, you guys just do the work. You have fun people. Like, I want to be friends with you guys. Like, I just need that. I don't want to deal with anybody else. And that's what all these small businesses are like, too. They're like, you cook a burger so much better than anywhere else. I can get a burger anywhere, but I would prefer the one that was made with love if I can get it, you know?
Yeah.
So they're like, you guys are our guys. And so now when it comes down to figuring out how are we progressing forward, what's the vision, it's like, all we're really doing is doing it for ourselves and then mimicking it for the client so that they have something that we do that they liked. And so that was a big part of, again, circling back to branding, was just like, Hypoterra Records was just this thing that I made just to say that, like, if I'm involved in a project and someone else is involved in a project, we can say that under this one entity, that's where it came out, because it's my creative vision on the technical side or someone else's participation in it. It helps just to have it as like a blanket umbrella. But then when money starts coming in at $2,000, you're having to fill out a W-9 because you're making more than like $500.
Yeah.
And you're like, shoot, I know that none of my friends will do this. Like, I know that they would love to do the work, but this crap, I don't like it. They sure don't like it.
Yeah.
So I went and built an LLC, again, because I was like, I need to figure this out for the benefit of everyone else, so that like it gets filed through my LLC that I've contracted people. And so now that they're like, oh, thank God, someone did the business side, like now I can just focus on being creative and do the thing. Every time I work for Javi, I know I'll get paid, I'll have something to eat, I'll get the gas I need, he'll tip me if he can, and it's fine. It's all good. It's not like thousands of dollars everyone's getting paid, but it's enough for them to come out for a day.
Yeah.
And participate in something. It's a solid day rate, and just to get them out there.
And like the thing is, like, when you are doing it and you get that like that validation of a paycheck, it doesn't matter really what the amount is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I made, a couple $100 just shooting photography or just like playing by the creek and stuff like that. To kind of take a step back from that, when you get into flow state, like when you're like just fully in it, like whether you're innovating or you're like mastering or whatever you're doing, what gets you there, and like how do you kind of experience that? It's different for everyone.
Clean house. Good clothes. Food in the fridge. Caffeine. Stimulus.
I got it. Well, because
I feel
like that. I mean, that's because like it's hard to work in a disorganized. I mean, I'm the opposite. I need piles of shit around me to like feel like there's this chaos and I'm like in it, but at the same time, I like it's so much easier to get into that flow state when your bed's made and your desk is clean.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're just like in it and like it's so you can make it dirty and stuff like that. But like you need that stuff, and like my roommate will walk into my room and be like, dude, how many screens do you need on right now? And I'm like, well, I'm doing work on this screen, and I have Family Guy on this screen. Because, like, I just need something kind of, like, blocking out that distraction. And so it's like, oh, well, I'm not really doing this. I'm watching TV, but I'm just really listening to it and not really listening to it, you know? And so, yeah, like the stimulus, or like even if it's like weed, nicotine, something like that, like a lot of times it really helps kind of take down that craziness, and it maybe what gets you into it, but like if you smoke before you get into an edit, like a video edit, like it calms your mind enough to get in, but once you walk through that door, you could be high for like an hour, 2 hours, but you could be just like crushing this edit for 8 hours, and not even know. Like that's when I am the happiest with flow state, is when I've like okay, I'm doing it, I'm just gonna start clicking around on Premiere, and then 2 hours later I'm like, I am so hungry. Or like I'm like, holy, I have to go to the bathroom right now.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like it happens.
Yeah, dude, I do weird things for that kind of workflow. One of my favorites is kind of dumb, but is a CamelBak water pack.
Yeah.
I have it like
somewhere.
I might have moved it.
Yeah.
But I'll have it like nearby just because I'll just be working. I'm just like like a little hamster.
That's so great. Yeah, like I have a 64-ounce jug that I'll just be like I'll rest it on my stomach if I can. I'll just have the straw up to my mouth and I'll just be going.
Yeah, dude. That, or like when it comes to like doing the the stuff that you just don't want to do, like organizing clips.
Oh.
I feel like I call that bitch boy shit. Like, because when I was working in Phoenix, I was working for 3 different recording studios for a little while, and it was just like I was doing bitch boy shit. They're like, I need you to go get coffee, or like, hey, the client wants to chill, go get wine. Here's my card. So I'm like, all right, cool. But then they also had me do stuff like, hey, I need you to prep the Pro Tools session, or cats that are too old but paid someone to build like a beautiful studio. They're just like, I don't want to touch Pro Tools. I just paid so I didn't have to touch it. You'd touch it. I'm like, dude, really?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to do this? So like, but after a while I realized like those tasks that I were accomplishing were like maintenance. And it was kind of like, oh, it's kind of like brushing your teeth, where it's like, the maintenance is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, your space and mind can get dirty, but you got to clean it at some point. Just because your teeth get dirty doesn't mean you just keep them dirty, because it'll get dirty later.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
Yeah, I wish I had that mentality for my car. I really do.
Oh, dude, that's totally different, yeah.
But yeah, like it's maintenance. It's, brushing your teeth. It's showering. It's keeping, and like that's one of the ones I'm criminally
it's hard.
Bad at, is organizing my files. And so like I was trying to retouch up an old edit because there's some issues I saw on the final posted video. And I know things now about Premiere that I would have done that were just like cranking the RAM on my computer. And if I had done it a different way, it wouldn't have been a problem. And so I was going to try and reorganize it, and then I had, since then it's been 2 or 3 Adobe updates, so I had to recreate the file.
Oh.
And then locating the files was, and then I found some, but with my camera I was doing reset clip naming.
Oh. Oh my god.
So I was like, it was like, oh, it says you used C001 on this. This is C001, and it's like, well, that's C001 from this project that I used for the video, but it's actually from this project I used for the video. So it was like my sister's wedding. I edited the video for her.
Oh, nice.
And I had reformatted the card at the wedding, and I was at her engagement party and filmed there, and so I incorporated some clips. But because I incorporated those clips, all the shots that were referenced from the day of the wedding were getting pulled from the engagement party, not the. And I was just like, this isn't worth retouching right now. But if I had done some kind of actual structured, form to that, wouldn't have been a problem.
And what could that have been if that process weren't such an uphill,
Yeah, seriously, I could have really remastered this video if I didn't, just throw stuff around willy-nilly and kind of have it. And so, that's... Yeah, the same idea is just like that, and then food in the fridge. And that's something, when we had those marathon sessions, I was at a meeting the other day, and it was a 2-hour meeting over lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and we brought lunch in, and I didn't know if I should hand out the food at the beginning, and so I didn't. And we all got to work, and there was a point when the conversation started getting distracted and getting skewed away from the target, and a little Javier Parra voice just popped in my head and was like, "Yeah, no, one of the things you got to do when you're in these creative spaces is make sure there's food, there's water." And, you know, you're fueling the creativity. That's all you're doing. You're keeping it going.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, all right, and I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to start serving out lunches. And I did. And then it kind of gave everyone this break. They ate a little bit. And then we got right back to where we needed to be, not where we were.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like that was something when you said the food in the fridge, I was like, that's a Javier special right there.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it makes sense. It's like you're feeding the beast again. You're feeding that beast of creativity.
Yeah, that was definitely something I did a lot as a pitmaster smoker. Was you got to maintain that fire. If you want your food to come out well, you gotta maintain that fire. Keep it alive, not too hot. Don't let it die. But you gotta practice finding that happy medium. Because you can overindulge and you can be too sparse.
Yeah, and that happens too. And I think, you know, like, that does happen too, where, like, you see people, like, unfortunately, like, these people who are just, like, these powerful creative forces, like Juice WRLD, that die young from, you know, Terra, you know, overdose. And it's, like, trying to hit that maintenance. Because, like, yeah, we do, a lot of creatives use stimulants to kind of get in the door. But sometimes you can overdo it. And sometimes you can cut back. And then when you cut back, you've almost lost your voice, and it is just such a finicky, you know, it's just chasing a whisper.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Chasing a whisper.
Like, I've never said that before in my life. It just get, you know, like, it just felt
Totally,
right.
no,
Like,
that sentiment is so interesting, because, like, ever since the pandemic, there was, I think it was like, I made it like 9 months without getting sick, and then it got me, and I, like, crashed atrociously. And when I crashed, essentially what happened was I faced all the respiratory issues. Is this still good?
Yeah.
I faced all the respiratory issues that came with it, and I had been running a lot at the time, and so when I was running, I practiced, like, controlling my breath, especially in a high altitude. When I got sick, I went down to Phoenix so I could breathe a little better. But there was a point where my training while running and then getting sick, facing a respiratory issue, I had better control of my diaphragm, but there was a certain point where I couldn't expand my lungs so far without going into a coughing fit and causing, like, my upper abs to just feel like there was a blade going into it because it hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And every cough was just like, I need to do it. It's going to hurt. But ever since then, I've gotten a lot better at, like, holding a shallow breath like a little bird, just, like, taking sips of, like, air, and there's still, like, my diaphragm still locks to this day, and it's mostly because I'm hearing things now. Like, I can hear that, like, my nose might be plugged, or I'm self-conscious that my breath is audible, so my diaphragm still locks, and I'm just kind of, like, holding my breath, listening to a lot. And so chasing a whisper definitely was like, yeah, dude, I get that. Like, I would refuse to make a sound so I can hear what's coming my way.
Yeah. It's so funny because I have the same thing. Like, I'll just be, like, going through my day and I'll just randomly, like, why did I just take this huge breath in? Like, I was coming out from underwater or something like that. And then I'll be like, then I'm just so focused on my breath that it's like, okay, just, like,
just breathe for a sec.
Okay, and then I can't stop thinking about breath, which is, you know, it's a good thing. You know? But I feel that, because that lock-up sense is, well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I kind of want to, like, capture you in the moment. Is that cool?
Yeah.
I don't know what you want to do, if you want to do, like, the project you got going right now, or if you can.
Yeah, I can pull something up. I don't know what that would look like. Besides this.
And this was an idea I had, and it doesn't have to be, like, a super long thing, but, like, if you want to just, like, blank slate it, you can too, and just, like, I mean, you can play piano a little bit. I've seen you do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any kind of, like, ability to noodle?
I think so. It should just take a moment to set up.
Yeah, do you want to do that?
Yeah, we can
Would that be better, or, you know?
As long as you're not actually using what I'm. It's not gonna sound that good. And I'm only playing the black keys, so I'm not really playing the piano.
Well, you know, we don't have to do this either if you don't have anything off film.
Yeah.
It's all good.
I think the only thing I really have are like the editing projects, or if I were to pull up Pro Tools just to make this move. Something I'm working on for the mariachi stuff is I'll throw it into this software, Isotope, just to make sure I can get everything I need out of it. Oh, it finished rendering. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to export this really
Yeah, I
quick.
saw that little loading bar, and I was like, oh, I don't want to interrupt that.
I'm not like, I mean, this isn't like pressing. This is just part of the maintenance that I do in life is like, well, it doesn't take any effort to really render after I got what I needed. So I'm just going to like do a little something here, go make a sandwich, let it render,
Yeah.
go do something else. Oh yeah. There's nothing sweeter than an export.
Oh my gosh.
And then watching it fail at the end.
Oh yeah, that was the part I was going to mention. It was like, oh, nothing worse than be like, oh, I'll go eat a sandwich, come back, like, what the happened?
Yeah.
Why is it stopped at like? Why does it say? Why was it a minute 16 and now it's an hour 30? Like,
yeah, and you got deadlines with like, oh yeah, it'll be done in the next 10 minutes. Hey, so sorry about that. Like,
quick edit 10 hours.
yeah, I noticed something I didn't notice before because I was rushing the export. So sorry. The clips are off. The color was off.
So that's what happened with the the video I had done. I had just started practicing with nesting clips and creating subsequences.
Oh yeah.
When you do that, it bogs it down so much.
Oh really?
Because it has to render the underneath and then it has to render the over the top.
Oh man.
And if you just had it all in the timeline, it renders so much faster.
Mm.
So that was like something I had learned from that. But it's so funny when you know the specs of your computer and you're looking at like this error or the it's like you need to force quit. You're using 96 gigabytes of RAM right now. And I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
I didn't know I had that.
I only have 16 gigabytes of RAM.
That's insane. Yeah, dude, and then the computer runs hot and you're like, I'm just so sorry.
And so this is the niche you're trying to create for yourself right now is the event recording, right?
Yeah, because when I think about what is it that I'm trying to accomplish, or just like, what was that to my fifth? When I'm thinking about what I'm trying to accomplish and the niche that is worth investing in, I find myself going into media production through event capture because of the power of time code. I spent like $2,000 trying to like just in clocks. Just in clocks, because the precision is like, oh, it's so good. I don't know, something about this, like, it is without flaw.
Yeah.
As far as anyone can tell.
And you use DaVinci too. That's crazy.
Oh, I totally use DaVinci. It's free. I used it in college, so it's just like, yeah, this is and its updates are the best, dude. It's just like, I don't know. It's where you end up in coloring anyways, so I'm just like, well,
yeah.
Let's see you at the finish line. You know? I have no idea if this is going to explode or poop its pants, but I'm going to disable a bunch of... I was running... That's the thing I don't like about this software, at least the way I'm using it, is my interface is capable of running these plugins on its own DSP. But when I go into the software, I'm like, oh man, now I have to like tell DaVinci that I'm using this like third party that's not just like a standard VST, so it has to like trigger the DSP chips remotely to run in real time, because that's like the perk of using this equipment is that these audio is so immediate.
Yeah.
I need my CPU to be instant, and so that's the value of a $3,000 interface, is that I'm not waiting for latency all the time. But because DaVinci doesn't handle this immediacy very well, very tricky, and that's where timecode saves my ass a lot, because I'm watching a clip and I'm like, this is clearly out of sync, but it's only because of the rendering speeds and all that stuff. But when I go back and I say highlight clip, sync based on timecode, every time I've made an export, it's perfect. So I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I've handed off projects to editors where they're just like, sorry, man, my computer's just so bogged down, I just genuinely didn't notice that the audio was out of sync. And so that's a problem I'm willing to throw $2,000 at.
Yeah.
To be like, never again.
Yeah, seriously. Like, and that's the thing, too, is like, and that's the beauty of like the filming and the recording and going down these creative pursuits, where like there are those solutions, right? That cost the money they do. And figuring out how to get by without them is always a great thing. Like, you know, I showed up here and I realized I didn't have any of my filters, and I was like, you know what, it's fine. You know, like, I can do some work to kind of adjust the screen so we can see it better.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's why I bought the filter. But
yeah,
it's like sometimes you gotta work your way through the mess, and then, you know, manage the way you can, and then adapt as you kind of grow.
Exactly. Yeah. And in the process, that's always troubleshooting in this field. It's like, well, you got to start getting good at it at some point. So it's like the discipline you put into your craft really starts to pay off the more you keep doing it. Because like this problem that used to be past you that had to deal with it, now future you is like, dude, I don't even think about that anymore. But this project is something I've been trying to explore more as far as live event capture. There's always a need for someone in the music world to have their live performance captured. Everybody needs it, especially when you're trying to like apply for festivals, or if you're trying to get access to venues. They want to see what you got, performance-wise. If the owner, for example, of a bar really likes what you got, they'll just book you. But if you're trying to get into a festival, they're kind of also like, what's your pull? Like, how many people are watching what you do? Because that's the pull that we need for our event to function. That's the service that you actually provide.
Yeah.
Is your audience. Because now we get to make you a big deal. So live performance, event capture, stuff like this makes a big difference because I can help them push for future events, get more work to be had, and it helps everybody get paid. Like, this is for International Women's Day, and this is their second annual mariachi festival. And it was told to me that this needs to happen again next year. There are events in Flagstaff I know that had that same incentive are no longer existing anymore. Yeah. So it's like, I understand what you're saying when you say this has to exist next year. I need to help you sell it. And so dropping, it was a last minute purchase, but the lens we're looking at right now was the Sigma 30mm, but I punched in a bit, f1.4, so that the anamorphic lens, in the event that it was soft, I had 2 wide shots.
Yeah.
But then I was like, you know what, these wide shots will look pretty great. Like, what if I just went and interlaced each one of them? Because then I get like a good shot of the dancers doing their thing, and I get to represent everyone a little better.
Yeah.
But on a technical level, it's really not too difficult to pull this off, but it's about understanding what your client is really trying to accomplish.
The end goal.
And also having that same end goal for yourself, to be like, I need to sell it because I care about what I just made.
Yeah.
I want people to see this.
Yeah, and if I can be a part in getting them this next year, I can be able to do this next year.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And like,
you want to do it again.
Yeah, and like it's so nice to like align those, especially align yourself with that kind of goal in mind, with, you know, saying, hey, we're going forward with this.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna turn the color off so this actually like plays, because you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But it's really handy to just like this takes hours. It takes a very long time. But I'm doing it this way because this is the right way to do it. This is perfect. Every cut is perfect with what I have.
I love exactly what you just said. Like, it has to be done this way. It's the hard way, but there's no other way to do this right.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing too, is like, you know, that you can try shortcuts, you can try and work around, and you can get somewhere, but there's a lot of times where you face, whenever you're like just life in general, you're just like, there's a right way and a wrong way, and if it's worth doing, it's worth doing right.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you're getting paid. Like, now you're contractually obligated to be doing it right.
Yeah. And that's so important.
That work ethic carries over a lot, because if you don't do that, then they don't hire you, and you don't stick around very long, and you're like, oh, that was my fault.
Yeah.
But
that's super cool. I guess, you know, one more question would be, and I'm kind of adding this, it was what I thought of.
Yeah.
This podcast I listened to, the guy always asks, you know, like, what's a book you recommend? But, you know, like, what is, it can be a song, it could be a book, it could be a video, like a YouTube video. It could be a movie,
Mm-hmm.
TV show. What is something you recommend people check out?
I really like the documentary Score, but then I also just saw the Hans Zimmer movie. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Brand new premiere. It was only for like a night or two in different cities. I think they're still pushing out premieres, but it's just his life's work.
I was wondering
summed
if it was, that's so cool. Like Hans Zimmer. That's another one of those concerts that they do. Is they do the best of Hans Zimmer.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
They just go hit all of his hits in movies, but they also break it up with interviews, talking about people who were a part of that process as he was going through it with them. So you have people like Billie Eilish, Pharrell, and just like the list goes on. But him talking about just what it was like for him to not only make the thing, but also have like the intent behind it. Like he talks about working with, I don't want to spoil it too much, but like working on The Lion King and just what it meant to him, and just like he's like, hey, my father passed away, and so as a father, I was like, I don't know if this is for me, if I should do this. What do I know? And so I'd say watching a movie like that kind of helps you realize that that's the process. That's the game. That's what you're doing. When you ask, what am I doing? It's that. Like, you have to just face the unknown with not necessarily a confidence, but an openness. It's just to be like, this could go so bad. But with what is in my control, this is what I can do to meet it. And so his scenario was, well, my father's passed. This is about a father. This is an opportunity for me to do something about this. I don't know what it is, but there's something that you just feel a calling to.
He had that opportunity for a reason, you know. Like there's.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I'm definitely checking that out because like I mean, who doesn't love Hans Zimmer?
Yeah, right.
Like he's the I was talking to someone the other day. They didn't know who he was, and I was like, that's actually crazy because like I've had so many people who I would never have. Even in a million years, guessed that they would know Hans Zimmer's name or like movies he's done. They were like listing them, and so it was weird to have the alternative.
Yeah,
that's definitely going to be on the watch list. So the Hans Zimmer and then Score.
Yeah, the thing about Score is when I used to teach at NAU to different like people to teach them sound, because I came from the Mesa Community College having known sound, then jumped into the film world with no knowledge of sound in that context. Mm-hmm. I ended up teaching it because I was the only one who knew anything about it.
Yeah, so, that's sometimes how it works, you know?
Yeah, so when I was teaching, that was one of the movies I'd make them watch because it puts you in a headspace for just like, what is the mixed media of video and audio, and what does it feel like? What does it do? It's really like a dummy's guide to the things you're doing that your parents are probably asking you, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You can make them watch that movie and be like, that role. And then they could be like, oh, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. And that, you know, like, I think for so many people coming from my background of, like, the video side or the directing side or, you know, whatever I decide to be this week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Sound is such a backdoor. You know, it's such a, like a back of the room. We don't think about sound. We don't deal with sound. If the visuals are good enough, it'll be fine. Yeah. And there was this one I was telling you about how when I go on work shoots for work, I'll also bring my camera and shoot in my free time.
Oh, good.
And so I was walking around Philadelphia with my coworker Mason, and we were just filming, and we both kind of like he made this super sick edit, and I wanted to do it to because it's Philadelphia. I wanted to do it to Meek Mill's "Dreams and Nightmares."
Ooh, okay.
Because like that has a whole song in the city and all this stuff, and it's the only song I think of when I think of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But then I also didn't want it to get stricken, so I changed the music.
Yeah.
But I timed it up to that song and then just changed the song.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was like, once I have this set, I am doing audio layering.
Yeah.
I'm adding sound effects. I'm going to Artlist. If I can't find something, I have the means to make something close, and didn't have to get that far, but I added all this stuff, and he after he was like, oh, I love all the like sound you brought from your camera to the video. I was like, no, that's not from in camera. I brought that from Artlist. That's just like, oh, ambient cityscape, and that's car driving by, and those are crunchy footsteps, and it really like
makes it
elevated the video so much more, and like that's something that I'm really trying to get better at, which is another reason why I wanted to do this with you. It's what gave me the first idea. Was just like talking to Javier makes me realize how much like sound is just like it's a force, and when you don't have it as a force, it's like it's a weight, right? You can use it for your momentum, or it's gonna hold you back. Like exactly. So it scores definitely when I'm gonna watch both of those. But.
Yeah. It was funny when I used to teach audio. One of the things that like I only had like 35 minutes tops for a class. That's like 10 minutes to get in and sit down and 10 minutes to get out. So I had this really narrow window to say something meaningful to my peers. And one of the things I was saying is like when someone asks you to do sound for your set, you don't really realize what they've just asked of you. And I would make a PowerPoint of just all the things that that it just entailed with that one question. It's like a marriage proposal. However, they also look at you like you have a civil responsibility to this task. You don't call 911 and they'd be like, "Hi, what's your emergency?" "Something's going wrong." And then you say, after you say something's going wrong, they're like, "Okay, well, what do you think we should do?" You know, like I'm calling you to give me answers, you know?
That's such a good, like and that happened, like another time I needed someone to fill in for me. The client actually found someone and I brought someone else in. And the person I brought in held it down, which was awesome. But the person he had brought in shows up and had asked him, "Hey, I don't have an SD card."
Oh.
And the guy's like hosting a comedy show, and he goes, "I don't know what you expect me to do with this." he's like, "What do I do?" And he's like, "I don't know what you expect me. That's your job. Like that's what you're here to do." And it's the same. It's for all of those tools that you talk about. How like film is a collaborative thing. It's like you don't realize the depth of what gaffing is. You don't realize the depths of rigging or even acting. Like actors bring a lot to the table.
Oh yeah.
So like it's just like here's what's that's such a good way of putting it though. It's like marriage proposal. You know, like sickness and in health and like all you know. Yeah. You go down the list and it's like, oh, I didn't realize she puts the forks in the dishwasher pointed up. Yeah. I always put them down, and that bugs me. And it's like, you gotta work with it, you know?
Exactly, because I would hate to like have a cop show up and be like, "Hey guys, what do you think we should do about this accident?" Be like, "You kidding me?" Like,
so we good here?
Yeah,
cool.
Like, because those guys are on sets, in production, in video. That's why rigging stuff collapses. Like, negligence is ridden everywhere, but. I don't know. There's something about it that's kind of fun to solve too. Yeah. To be like, I had enough foresight to realize that having clear comms are probably really useful when I'm using a multicam edit. Having everyone communicate to be like, "Do you have the shot? I'm gonna change a battery." Yeah. Or whatever, you know.
Well, and like I've seen that too, where like on a multicam that was done, you know, a lot of people get into a position of set and forget, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to chase, and like what if that what if it was just like two people sitting in chairs, right? And like their backup thought is like, oh well, we have the safety no matter what. But if someone gets up in a conversation, they're making a point, they're saying something that's got to be punched in. So if you're not following and you don't have those comms, like you said, like that was what happened in this situation where they didn't have the comms, and it was like I was trying to get this person's attention, and you know, like we didn't have a good enough sign language going to where I was like, "You go, I'm gonna cut," so we have the safety. Yeah. And so it worked out fine because we had enough of an overlap to where it worked out.
Oh, good.
But still, it was like one of those things where I was just like, this would have been better to just be like, all right, I'm shutting off my time and restarting. Just keep rolling. Give it 10 seconds, then you do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, the end product suffers so much. You're just like, man, if I had just done it right in the moment. And that's definitely something I'm trying to do now. Is like, while this does take a long time, there is a pressure for immediacy in this world. You know, you need to be relevant and fast and quick. I can't just edit live like this. But I can edit live if I just had the tool to do so.
Yeah, just the switcher.
Just a switch.
What if you slip up? Then you have the backups. Like I was going over a switcher, you know, and then you also, they were showing me this switcher, and it was like basically what happens is because you have, it was for a 2-person podcast, so 3 cameras, 2 people on like mic on camera, and it's like, say you want the raws of each individual, you get 3 individual takes. Say it's 30 minutes, so you have an hour and 30 minutes of storage, and then you have the master on top of that, and then you also have the audio files isolated.
Yeah.
And then you have then you have to sync all those up, and so you come out of a multiple cam recording session with 8 or 9 of what you could have had one of, you know?
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely something I'm trying to push towards with this like switcher that I've got coming in soon, is that I'm still going to have to do this, because this is the thing that I want my clients, sponsors, donors, and everyone else who sees this, because this is going to outlive everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I need this to be like, but I can't do that entirely with a Switch. But what I can do with that is do something like a live stream and or hand off this edit that this thing can spit out. It can do like an automatic cycle if it needed to at the worst case scenario. But at the end of the day, they would have something to watch and enjoy, like tomorrow night.
Yeah.
While I'm doing the offload, all the data dumping.
Yeah, and getting that done right version, the remastered, the version that needs to come.
Exactly.
They have a bystander, a stand-in.
Yeah, because then with like what you could do for a live stream that I don't want to do for this, slap logos all over it, you know, and sponsors. That's totally welcomed in the moment, because that's a pretty like acceptable thing to do. But if I was doing that over the final product, something about it feels too like market-y, you know. So I can kill 2 birds with one stone, but same 3 cameras, same edit. The only thing that changed was just a video switcher that can sum them all together and just put out something immediately. So I don't know, things like that help the client see what you're trying to accomplish for them and the value that you see for them, to be like, hey, this venue has 2,000 seats. You have sold them out every single year for the past 20 years of this 25-year event. I think you could sell some online seats, and we can get you some serious cash because of how many people you've known for the past 25 years of doing this.
Who just can't make it there that night.
Exactly, and it's like all mariachi music. Like, some of them come from Mexico. They have families who would love to see this. Like, my plan is like to create a beta version to be like, the first one's free, because I need your patience if it fails. But it's free. If you want to sell tickets, we can figure that out, but let's do the first one free, see how it goes. My name is Javier Parra, and I am a media producer. I live here in Flagstaff, and I'm originally from Gilbert, but I'm living in Flagstaff these days, trying to become a media producer, and I try to specialize in live event capture through my company, Hypoterra Records, LLC.